Good evening, all my friends in TV land. This is Senior Issues, etc. I'm your host, Vita Verdon. Kick back, get a paper and pencil, sit down. This show's for you. Now, what I want you to pay attention to, I've got a lot of good information. I've read your letters. I've read your emails. I've listened to you, and by popular request, we have over the Rainbow Association, and we have the executive director with us tonight, and his name is Eric Huffman. It's so nice to have you by popular demand back on the show. I think it's been a little over a year. And first of all, I think that you can give us a little information about yourself and your background and whether you're married and where you come from and how you got into this organization that we're going to dig into tonight. Okay?
Great. Thanks, Vita. It's really a pleasure to be here. I actually came to Over the Rainbow about 15 years ago, and I actually went there for a tour because my...
Well, before you get into that, we want to know a little background on you.
Well, okay. This is part of that.
All right.
I am 63, so I guess I qualify as a senior at this point. I've been at Over the Rainbow for 15 years. I'm married. I have 2 children. My older son, Mike, is 25 years old. He's a graduate student up at UW Whitewater and is also assistant swim coach up there. My daughter, Nicole, is graduating from Palatine High School this year and is going to go to Michigan State next year as a swimmer. She's going on a swimming scholarship, so we're really proud of her. And also got a dog named Cooper. I don't know if that's relevant information, but what I wanted to explain is I actually I have a brother-in-law who had a motorcycle accident, and also my brother has MS, and both of them use wheelchairs.
You neglected to give us your wife's name.
Oh, Debbie is my wife.
Right. Now, so far, there's 2 children, 1 pet, and 1 wife, so that's 4 kisses right into that camera there.
I have to blow kisses?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You know what? That was too light. I went smack.
Oh, my God.
All right.
Okay, there you go, guys.
Okay.
All right.
All right, let's get back to it now. And you were talking about your brother-in-law.
Well, my brother-in-law had a motorcycle accident back in 1991. My brother was diagnosed with MS back in 1989. And I actually went to, in 1996, I went for a tour of Over the Rainbow Association to look around. I was actually looking perhaps for some housing for my brother-in-law. And took the tour, was so impressed with the place, just thought it was absolutely unbelievable. And then about 2 weeks later, I got a call from the chairman emeritus saying, was I interested in a job, that they were having a national search for an executive director. And
this was in 1996.
Yeah, well, now we're into 1997. So, so anyway, I went back, I interviewed, and the board decided to hire me. So I've been there ever since.
Well, I'd like to have a detailed explanation and a simple explanation, because all our viewers out there are right now saying, well, what is this Over the Rainbow Association? So what is Over the Rainbow Association?
In its simplest terms, we build apartments for independent living for people with severe physical disabilities. And between the ages of 21, we have some that are younger, but basically 21 to 65. So it's not really senior housing, but it's certainly housing for people with disabilities.
And so the age range, if you can say it again, because we want to get this clear.
Sure. 18 to 65 is the general range.
Okay, that's the age range. Okay.
But I want to say, Vita, too, that we do have some people that are older than 65 that live with us. But basically, our buildings are funded.
Oh, that you take them in, but as they age, they can be in the facility.
But as a rule, they're younger. A lot of the folks that live with us are 30s, 40s, 50s. That's a typical age.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Now the next question is that we have the age range. Now this is a Section 8 housing. All right.
It's the buildings are constructed with using HUD. It's called Section 811 money, and then they come with project-based Section 8 vouchers. So if someone's accepted to live there, then they have rental support. Now they still have to pay some rent, but out of their own pocket. But they do have rental. There's a rental subsidy that comes with living there.
That's the first qualification. The qualification is the person has to have a disability.
Yes.
And then they have to qualify into the system of Section 8. I myself live in a Section 8 senior building, and we also have a few people with disabilities, but it's basically a senior building.
Right.
So that's the second qualification, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about this.
Well, I think what's really unique about our buildings is they're completely barrier-free. Not everyone that lives there is in a wheelchair, but a lot of people are. And I want to also say that these are folks that have physical disabilities. So it could be an accident victim, somebody who's got cerebral palsy, or some condition that might prevent them from either walking or at least being completely ambulatory. But our buildings are barrier-free, so there are a wheelchair can get anywhere. The bathrooms have 5 feet turning radiuses. The doors are 40 inches wide. The kitchens, you can actually drive a wheelchair under the counters. All the switches on the stove and the refrigerator, big handles. The lights are all mounted up front, so someone with very limited range of motion can really function very well in our apartments.
All right, now I'm going to take you back a little bit because we want to. We have a viewing audience that this is new to them, so they want to get, and because of our time limitation on the air, we can only give them limited facts. Sure. And so when did Over the Rainbow Association start?
It was founded in 1974 by 4 ladies and a gentleman that all had adult children in their 20s who had aged out of high school or even college but had no place to live. And so they decided they were going to build something. So they started out with these little, they would have a dance and they'd sell sticks of gum for $20 a piece, et cetera. And they raised about $100,000. They found a lawyer named Mel Landau. He found a property in Chicago. So our first building is actually at the intersection of Belden and Halstead, right across from DePaul University. It still stands. It's just 8 units. It's a very small building. From that, we've grown into, we're working on our 8th building now, all the way out in Freeport, Illinois, which you may know where that's at, but it's very far west of here, So we have can I tell you what the locations are real quickly?
Yes.
We have a building in Evanston, which is 33 units. It's called Hill Arboretum Apartments. We have a building in Waukegan that's named after our chairman emeritus, Gustafson Apartments, 25 units. It's on Sunset Avenue. We have a building in Matson, Illinois, that's on Southwick, which is right near the way south Cook County, and it's a 25-unit building. Also a building in Rockford, a building in Harvard, and a building in Freeport, and then we're building a second building in Freeport. So eventually we'll have eight all together.
All right. Now this happens to be a brochure, and I want you, and that gives kind of the history, and it gives a lot more facts that we didn't, because of our time, couldn't get in. So if anybody is interested, why don't you give 2 things, your website and your telephone number, and people can get this Over the Rainbow. Tell them what it entails in there.
Sure, you betcha. This is everything anybody ever wanted to know about our organization. It describes our apartments. It has features on tenants. It has features on our leadership, our board, volunteers, etc. Our website is www.otrassn.org. That's www.otrassn.org. And our phone number is 847-424-5603.
And the telephone number one more time?
847-424-5603.
And what is in this brochure?
Well, a lot. There is a map of all our locations. There are diagrams of our apartments, pictures of the buildings, interviews with tenants who live in our buildings and their trials and tribulations and their successes, and also features on our leadership too. We have a very strong group of real estate executives, for instance, that help us to build our buildings.
And one more time, the telephone number.
847-424-5603. 5603.
All right. Now, I think we're going to come back in the second half, but you might tell, I'm interested in this organization so much because I think it truly is a vital 21st century organization that is in its infancy, you might say.
True.
It's been around for 2 years, but it's on the grow. Right now.
Yep.
It's on the grow right now.
Absolutely.
And it's dependent on the funding, the economy, and well-wishing charitable donations to the organization. So you're always open to donations. And if anybody wants to give a donation, give them the website one more time.
All right, it's www.otrassn.org.
And give them the telephone number one more time.
Okay, 847-424-5603.
And give them what your name is if anyone wants to get in touch with you.
All right, Eric Huffman.
All right, and why don't you spell that? Because I want them to get all this information.
All right, it's Huffman, Huffman.
And your first name is Eric, and how do you spell it?
ERIC.
Okay.
This is a test today, isn't it, Vita?
Well, I just want to get that information out there.
You betcha.
Because I know you're on the grow, and, people have to see, they have to hear, and they have to have it several times.
Right.
All right, now what it's time for is my pearls of wisdom. So the first thing on the menu in my pearls of wisdom is, these organizations that are on the grow. I'm so interested in that because we are a charitable community organization, and in our best interest, we want to promote what we think is important for our society today. And then I have some other things that I want to talk to you all about. I feel like you're my TV family, so I'm telling you things that I'm doing myself. So being that I have come in with things that it's good for you to do, it's really good for you to go into the freezer of your refrigerator, and it is good to take everything out, and anything that has frostbite on it, you need to dispose of it. You need to dispose of it, and you need to clean everything out of there so that you have it. And you need to go into the whole refrigerator, and if you don't have the ability to do this, you need to either call Catholic Charities or find somebody that will help you go in and do these things. And you need to go through all your food products and find the things that are outdated, and you don't need to pass them on to a food pantry. You need to dump them in the garbage, because the food pantries and your friends around you don't need to eat any of these outdated or frostbitten things. They need to be dumped. And the third place you need to go is you need to go into all your medications. You need to take your medications on your doctor's visit, and have your doctor with including your vitamins, and see if anything is being in conflict. I just finished doing this with my internist, and one of the things that I found out is I found myself, as we age and we're getting up, there is a natural dizziness that happens, and that just happens with the aging process. But there also could be an over excessive dizziness that occurs when we have a conflict in our medication. Now, each one of these things has to be evaluated on a person-to-person basis. But I'm telling you my experience, which it could be something different in your experience. In my experience, one of the things that was happening to me is my medication was a little bit too much on my blood pressure medication, so it was making me dizzy, so now I'm taking half as much. But this needs to be checked out by your physician. You can't evaluate this yourself. And what I've told you about 100 times now is your vitamins need to be taken with food, or else you're invalidating them and they don't really have that much usage. Okay, and now your outdated medication cannot be flushed down your toilet because they don't want that in the blood into the water system. Okay, I think I've told you enough now to take care of. Let's get back to Eric. Okay, what I'd like to concentrate in this segment is what are your up and coming events? I know you have a lot of events coming, so I think the first event you want to really discuss with our audience is your bike turn, your biking event, all right?
Okay, great.
You're going to tell them about this shirt, too, what this shirt represents.
I'm actually going to turn this shirt around because all the information's on the back side of it. And actually on May the 26th, we're going to have not a fundraiser, but a friend-raiser. And this friend-raiser is part of Bike the Drive, which is Lakeshore Drive. Last year there were about 35,000 people that rode at least part of the drive, either down to University of Chicago from Buckingham Fountain or up to Hollywood from Buckingham Fountain. So we've got a tent, and we're going to have a few riders, maybe 40 or 50 riders that are going to ride as a group. And what we're really trying to do is build support for our Rainbow Challenge Tour, which is this year the third week, the third Sunday in September. And that race, or ride, it's not a race, it's a fundraiser, and we kind of glommed onto the North Shore Century, which is about 2,000 riders that ride from Evanston. Some of them ride all the way up to Kenosha, 100 miles. But basically what people do is they sign up to ride with us and they raise money. There's no cost for them to ride with us, but they'll send letters to their friends and relatives and raise money. And we generally encourage people to raise about $300. Last year we had 75 riders and we raised $75,000. This year we're going to try to have more than 100 riders and raise more than $100,000. So that's our first event.
Okay.
Okay. There's the shirt back. Our second event, I didn't really bring a prop for, but it's really a special event that's been going on for a long time now. Don Gustafson passed away 3 years ago. His daughter, Nancy Gustafson, is a world-class opera star. She's also a guest faculty at Northwestern University, teaches at Rutgers also, and is also the managing director of the Castleton Festival, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. Nancy's been doing a concert. This will be our 23rd year this year. This year we're going to have Manny Patinkin and Nathan Gunn are going to be the two stars. It's December the 1st, which is a Saturday night, and we have it at Pick Stager, which is on the Northwestern campus right by the lake, and 1,000 seats, and we'd love to see you there. It's just a wonderful, incredible concert. So those are our two events, Vita. We don't have a lot, but you know, this warm-up, like I said, for the bike thing is on May the 26th. Yeah.
All right. Now, maybe you want to tell us about, go into some more detail on the organization and how it operates. And I know you always could use some volunteers, you know, of your organization. Like we're always promoting, we're advocates of volunteering.
Well, as you said, we're an organization. We've been around for a while, but we're an organization that's really growing. And I'm really proud that we have 4 high-level real estate executives, for instance, that volunteer. They look at our plans. They try to figure out where we might want to build new, buildings. What is there property available? All those type of things. I think the most important thing I want to stress today, Vita, is that there's a twofold value proposition with what we do. It's the value of a barrier-free, accessible apartment to somebody who has a physical disability. That's really hard to find affordable, accessible housing. That's number one. Number two is that, what's the alternative? If someone can't find one of our apartments, where do they live? They may end up living in a state-funded nursing home type situation, which is really not adequate for their needs. They're able to live independently. Those cost us as taxpayers a lot of money. And so not only do we save the taxpayers money, but we provide an incredible, dignified living environment for our people.
Now, do you, like, if somebody comes in and qualifies, do they build something specifically around a person?
No, not really.
Or they build it around particular disabilities?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, I think pretty much what we do is what's called universal design. So we build something that someone with a wheelchair, with a big wheelchair, if you've seen some of the new wheelchairs that people are moving around in, that'll accommodate that wheelchair, and you or I could live in it very, very well too. You know, it works for just about everybody. So they're not custom designed, but some of the technologies are kind of custom designed.
Well, I'd like our audience, I'd like to get like even more simplistic about this, and our audience to visualize. So that means, number one, there's much wider doors opening, right?
Right.
And then instead of steps up and down, there's ramps.
Ramps, or it's flat.
And in the apartments, certain things are at the level of a wheelchair.
Everything is. And in the bathroom, there's a 5-foot turning radius, so a wheelchair, there's grab bars, there's a roll-in shower so that they can actually roll into the shower.
So there isn't bathtubs. There's, they can actually take their wheelchair in the shower?
Well, or move it right up to the shower and then transfer into a cart. You know, and then there are grab bars all over the shower, and also the shower can be operated at sitting level so that you don't have to stand to use the shower. In the kitchens, you can roll a wheelchair underneath the counters. Everything is front loaded. All the switches are front loaded.
And the cabinets?
Cabinets, yeah. We even have some apartments where cabinets actually move up and down, which is at the push of a button. There's lots of assistive technology. I mean, somebody in a wheelchair pushes a small button and their door will unlock and open. So there's just lots of things. I could go on for hours about all the different assistive devices. And they are customized. After somebody moves in, whatever they need, there's custom stuff that's built into it too. We have some people that use a lift that actually, with a harness under their legs and a harness behind their back, and with a remote control, they lift themselves up and can get themselves in and out of bed. So it's really special. We call that the people lift. So it's very special.
Okay, well, first of all, what is the first step a person with a disability has to go through to see if they're qualified? And that would be hooking up with the Section 8 disability.
Well, actually, they can do that through us. So if they need to apply, that's the first thing they would need to do. So if they went into our website, there's an application that's actually electronically available on our website, or we can mail them one and then they can send it back to us.
Now, if a person does not have a computer, they can go into any library, right?
Sure, absolutely. You bet. And again, like our website's www.otrassn.org. And if you go on there and click on apartments, the application will come up. So they can do it by computer, or they could call our phone number, which I'd given to you earlier, which is 847-424-5603.
And you can send them a paper application.
Yeah, and they can do it and send that in.
So there's two ways. You can do it online, or you can do it through the telephone number, which Eric has just given you, and you can get the application. Okay? So that deals with the applicants. Now, the other part is, say somebody, a person is interested in volunteering or in giving a contribution. They can either do this online or they can do it through calling also.
Yeah, same thing.
All right. So what I'd like to go into a little bit is to find out, like, if a person is going to volunteer, the question at hand is, volunteer to do what?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, let's go into that.
Well, the scope's pretty wide with something like that. We have some people that volunteer and come in and just wash somebody's wheelchair. We have people that are lubricate it or fix it. There's some people that come in to volunteer to actually provide us with intellectual capital, like the real estate guys I was talking to you about. There are people that come in and volunteer simply to be a companion, maybe to go shopping with somebody to the Jewel or the Dominic's. Just it's really a wide range. We have people that, you know, some of our guys were, before they were injured, were basketball players or athletes, so they play wheelchair sports. So sometimes we have high school kids that'll come in and actually play basketball with them. So it's a real wide range of. We have two garden clubs that actually come in and do gardening on site. So they'll, you know, dig in the weeds and pull weeds and plant flowers and all that kind of stuff too. So
do you have any kind of written?
No. We
but
really
it's
don't.
just a verbal thing. Just
it's kind of like, what are they interested in, and you know, what talents do they have that
so
they could bring to
us? So they need
us?
to call.
Sure, absolutely.
The volunteers need to call.
Yep. Yeah, you bet.
All right, and also if anybody is interested in giving a donation, they can either go to the website,
right,
or they can call, or they can just contact you.
And I think a great way to make a donation, I know a lot of your audience might be seniors, but they may have kids that like to ride a bike or whatever. Our bike ride in the fall is really a lot of fun. And we had about 300 people there last year, only 75 rode. The other people came to a party, a Texas barbecue that we have, just to hang out, to have a good time, and donated money to be there, and donated whatever they could afford. So it wasn't, you know, you didn't have to write a giant check to be there, you know.
So it seems to me, in assessing the situation, whether they're interested in volunteering their services or their funds, they need to come to an event.
Sure, you bet. That's the best way to get started, absolutely.
That is exactly the best way to get started. They need to come to an event.
Right.
And even any kind of a person with a disability, they need to have someone take them to an event.
Sure, absolutely.
And that will bring them more in the mix.
Yep.
So my very last question to you is what I question everybody about.
Okay.
What is it that Eric himself is personally getting a gratification out of in your passion?
Oh my God. I mean, when I started there, we had 2 buildings. We're working on an 8th building now. I don't know how many more years I'll be doing this, but a while yet, because I've got a girl going to college. But I'd love to see 15 buildings or 20 buildings. And the gratification I get out of it is knowing that somebody's living in a dignified, independent life instead of, you know, away in some institution someplace. That's just not suitable for the people that live in our buildings.
Well, Eric, I'm going to have you come back to keep us updated in what it's time for when you out there come to the end of your rope. The thing to do is to tie a knot and to hang on. And what we want you all to do is to catch the spirit. God bless you. We love you.